A little bit about me. So the title of this talk is Making Useful SMS Bots, or as I like to call it, capitalizing on buzzwords. I thought of this talk as I was at a hackathon a couple of months ago, and I kind of went through like a little bit of a profound moment at the hackathon as I was thinking about chatbots, about the history there, about actually making a useful one, and I'm going to walk through that process today. So, a little bit about me, my career. So I co-founded the New York City network of Women Who Code. So I've got a bit of an evangelism background, but I've been doing front-end engineering for the past 3 years, and I've just recently moved into product. If you guys want to gossip later, things I can definitely talk about are Snapchat versus like Uber's like stock prices. I think that is a fascinating topic. I've recently binged on The Handmaid's Tale. I can definitely talk about building communities, building hackathons, building infrastructure around that. And anything HBO like seems to be my fallback. So if any of those things are interesting to you guys, come find me later. So let's set the stage right now. I'm going to give you a breakdown of the things that I was looking and listening to a couple weeks before the hackathon. And be very aware that there is an HBO show in this, so this is like probably the most pervasive images you will ever see for a TV show. How many of you guys have watched, or more importantly, if you do watch an HBO show, like make sure you always watch it with another person. In this specific show, like you have to watch it with another person. There's so much philosophical discussions you can have based on that. And the show itself is Westworld. Of course. So how many of you guys have seen Westworld? How many of you guys haven't seen Westworld? Whoa. See? You guys just did rock, paper, scissors. Now's the time to binge on it. I loved Westworld. It was amazing. Like, it showed you all these androids, and I had the best conversations with my coworkers afterwards. It was the best artificial intelligence show I've seen in a while, and I kind of equate it to either like Star Trek or kind of the Terminator, where you have these very interesting images in your mind. You're like, wait, now I'm going to build technology to actually reach those images. And so I would have these philosophical discussions. What does it mean to be advanced? What does it mean to have androids? What does it mean to, what do we give up when we build these things? And of course, like the best discussions, and you're having them with your coworkers, you're getting a lot closer with them. But so the Westworld had just ended about a month before I'd done this hackathon. My God, good infrastructure there. And then 4 weeks before the hackathon, I had heard about the world's first robot lawyer. The world's first robot lawyer was created by this 19-year-old kid who created this chatbot to help you argue your parking ticket. There were 250,000 cases that the chatbot argued, and nearly 2/3 of them, it won. And so I thought that was the most fascinating principle, because as we think about technology, as we think about jobs, there's a very simple medium there. There's blue-collar jobs and white-collar jobs. And technology appears to be replacing a good number of blue-collar jobs. But in this specific instance, we replaced a white-collar job. And that is kind of fascinating, that we are replacing knowledge workers. So that gave me a good amount of pause, and that's another variable that I was thinking about as I was thinking about chatbots. A couple days before the hackathon, a fantastic engineer tells me that he thinks chatbots are going to soon have advanced natural language processing. They're going to have like larger artificial intelligence capabilities. And I'm like working in technology, so I don't think I'm out of the loop. But the way that this engineer described it to me, I was like, oh my God, like I'm not in the right industry right now. Like I really need to be working for a company that is doing these capabilities. So he really gave me some FOMO. But at that hackathon, I'm thinking, hey, like I really need to be making these chatbots. I really need to be making these things now. And a very interesting context piece is that a couple months before, in my mind, we had a little bit of a tragedy, and it's probably an understatement. But me attempting to be very empathetic, the day after this happened, I tried to understand why people are not understanding technology, why they're not flocking to it as they should. And I kind of came to the question of why did half of America vote in fear? And so obviously, I'm scared about not being out of the loop. And I live in a metropolitan city. I live in New York City. And I worked for companies that put technology as their forefront. So if I think I'm out of the loop, what does that mean for the rest of America? And I kind of came to this point where we're very scared, potentially, that we're going to be out of the loop. And so there was a really good article, What So Many People Don't Get About the US Working Class. It talks about our expectations and about your minimum basic income and how those expectations aren't being met. And more importantly, it puts it on a background of like, here is technology and here is the path it's moving on. And as we talk about technology as the future, people don't know what that means. I thought I didn't know what that means, and I work in technology. Another really good book for grounding is that of The Industries of the Future by Alec Ross. So just as a checkpoint, I kind of like took all of these variables in and I said, hey, Elizabeth, like be very wary of exaggerated promises of like people calling everything the next big thing, like chatbots or, and that kind of came from the engineer saying to me, hey, this is going to happen like tomorrow, and me being like, but I feel so out of it. I obviously don't know what that means. So over-exaggerating engineers. And also be very cognizant that there are people who just don't get technology, and you need to, like this is more of a product thing, like be very empathetic to people who have no technology experience when we are making these chatbots. So let's talk about the hackathon itself. The hackathon was amazing. If you ever are thinking of doing a hackathon, Dom Sagola is running Developer Camp. He does a lot of them in San Francisco. He does them in New York. His hackathons are the most inclusive, rewarding places I've ever done a hackathon. And I've done a lot of hackathons, so that's like a very high mark of praise. But at the hackathon, as I was actually building these chatbots, as I was actually looking into making one, I realized that everything was a little bit over-exaggerated. So we have the very far future, that being dictated by Westworld. We have people being very scared that this future is actually going to happen, that being dictated by like America's current political crisis. And then we have me actually working with these chatbots, of which I'll show you guys next. And the chatbots, in my mind, weren't very good. They all tried to reach for a certain level of conversational behavior, and that behavior, in my mind, just like very much missed the mark. So where do chatbots come from? In the 1980s, you had a thing called Dr. Speights, Spatzo, that's how you pronounce it, I believe. It was a therapy chatbot. And it would say, hey, I'm Dr. Speights, I'm here to help you. Tell me your problems. And you would say, here's my problem. I have no friends. And then Dr. Speights would take that context and say, are you sure you have that problem? Are you sure you don't have any friends? And then you would be like, no, I told you I don't have any friends. It's still true. And then Dr. Speights would say, well, that's not my problem. So obviously a very helpful chatbot, but as we think about helping ourselves, as we think about like just giving ourselves different information pieces to brain splat, this was one of the first of its kind. And then, how many of you guys have heard of Jessi by Facebook? No one? Okay, so at F8 a year or two ago, Facebook released Jessi, and it was supposed to be a very profound, awesome chatbot experience. But I will just read it out loud right now. And I said to her, where do you want to live? She said, I'm super open. Do you want a roommate? Oops, hang on a sec. I'm at a cafe and a drink just came up. So no. So obviously, no, you don't want a roommate. Nope, I got my latte, got my laptop, got to find a new apartment. Do you want a roommate? I'm bringing it back the context. No, I'm pretty much open to everything, anything. I can't believe I'm getting kicked out of my apartment. So what's the problem right now? The problem is it's not taking any of my context and putting it into its responses. So my learnings with the conversational chatbot: incorporate context, incorporate user answers into the text. And also make very generic responses. That seems to be one of the easiest things you can do to make chatbots very easy and pervasive, is to make catch-alls, generic responses for a range of answers. And so I made a chatbot, and I didn't have Twilio credits at the time, so I apologize for that. But so I made an informational chatbot for recording my achievements. I realized that I speak and host a lot of workshops and volunteer, but I don't have any metrics for what I did in 2016, 2017. Actually, for the past couple years that I've been doing this. So I wrote a informational chatbot. I said, hey, why don't I just text a chatbot after I've done something? I said, hi, Elizabeth, how can I help you today? I want to record my achievement. So I'm specifically telling it the part that I want to do. Great, tell me what type of achievement you've made today. I can say one of 4 responses: host, volunteer, speaker, attend. I say host, and then it says what was the event. I made a Women Who Code happy hour, ladies get paid. Congratulations, it's been recorded. And so in that way, I've made a very simple, extremely simple informational bot that takes my achievement and will, at the end of 2017, I'll look at that Excel file and I'll say, hey, here's like all the things I've done. And then I can make like one of those like cutesy, here's what I did in 2017 articles, as opposed to, oh, I think I was busy in 2017, but I actually don't know or have any metrics about what I did. So what did I do here? I said, as the user, I said, record the achievement. The bot itself would tell me what you can tell the bot what sort of response you would like. And I said, hey, tell me what type of achievement you've made today. And each of those different parts, host, volunteer, speaker, attend, went to a specific response. And specifically for host, it said, awesome that you did that. Do you want me to take any notes? Do you want me to like add a URL or whatever? I've got to probably expand it a little bit. But so the basics of it are just that I'm doing like a very simple informational management chatbot. I want to record my knowledge, right? So quick pitch for my company. We also used ZapX, XAPIX, ZapX for short, which we call the IFT for APIs, but we used ZapX for preparing a number of different endpoints. And so if I wanted to expand that bot, I could very easily just add that data stream and add that endpoint, and in a couple of minutes, I could probably have made a different sort of chatbot with the different functionality. So we're going to do a really quick activity. Do you guys want to get out some paper or phone or something? Cool. You guys are going to take the next minute or two and just think of 3 informational chatbots that you can make. So 3 examples that I was thinking of are, I want to record what happens to a meeting. What happens afterwards? What are my deliverables? How did the meeting go? What was the person like? All of those things. So I want to make a meeting recording chatbot. And I showed you the achievement recording chatbot. And maybe a third one is I want to look up facts or figures on Wikipedia. So think of 3 informational chatbots that you can make. So take the next minute and do that. So maybe a better prompt is, what is something that you're remembering but not recording? What is something you would like at the end of a quarter, maybe at the end of the year? What is something you want to record, want to put inside of a database, and don't have the bandwidth to do it? Okay. Is that a good prompt? Do you guys-ish understand? Okay, some nods. So the entire purpose of this talk is to bring us to the realization that we shouldn't be making conversational chatbots. We shouldn't be attempting for our chatbots to have a personality. Like, that's an extremely high goal. And not to say that you can't accomplish your goal, but that's going to take a lot of work on your chatbot. And so let's build a building block first. Let's build some informational chatbots. And I think that by the time you build your 10th bot, it'll already be better than your lowest performing intern. You're just, if you have interns, you know. So yeah, chatbots in general, they take patience, they take iteration, and build informational ones first. Don't try to build a personality. So just in general, let's be very wary of the exaggerated promises that people on podcasts and technology shows say of something, here's the next big thing. Because the way that engineer described it to me, I honestly thought that I was missing out on something massive. And to actually use a couple of the very famous chatbots and to see that they're so incomplete, so lacking, is what's the difference in the flowery language between 2016 and 2017? I know that the field of artificial intelligence has increased, but I can't tell by the way you describe your chatbot that it actually has increased. So be very wary of over-exaggeration. Be cognizant of tech adoption per the city, per the state, how people are understanding and using your piece of technology, and build information bots. Don't build bots with personalities. Super thanks to Dom Sagola. If you guys ever want to build a hackathon, he's a fantastic contact in general. My family, my Zappix team, Chris, who is my boss, he gave me a lot of fantastic presentation feedback, and an intern, Fayron, who helped me create the bot. Here are my favorite humans at SignalCon. Jess, who is actually right in front. She didn't see this slide beforehand. Do you want to raise your hand? She's standing all the way in the front. Saran is fantastic and is the founder of Code Newbie. She's going to be giving a talk tomorrow, I believe at 2:30 or 2:45, and she's going to be talking about Lucky and understanding your privilege. And she is fantastic humans all across the board here. Angad and Megan are also amazing. So those are my favorite humans at this conference, and if you have, these are the two resources I recommend. Both articles take 5 minutes to read. But if you can go to xapix.io/Twilio, I will email out anyone who enters in their email the resources and the PowerPoint. So I think that's it. Yep. Thank you.